Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
And hello, we are live right now on the Miguel and Holly Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, and for the very first time, welcome, producer Kelbin! Yes.
Oh my gosh, you were right about this intro song.
It's real loud. Yeah, shout over it.
It is.
Yep.
It's super, super loud. So if you are new to the Miguel and Holly fam and to the Platypus Posse, we finally have an executive producer, and he's coming all the way from where?
From the 305.
Hey, Miami.
Yes, the 30. Like probably the only national area code that like everybody knows is that one. Anything else, you'd be like, wait, what?
You'd be like, I don't.
Like,
I'm not sure.
6, 7, 8. Does that mean anything to you?
I mean, if you're from the ATL.
Yeah, there you go. Otherwise, no. So Kelbin, welcome to the fam.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. I've been such a fan for a while, so it's like crazy to be in this position.
I love it. So right now you are in Miami.
Yes.
Yeah, you're still there.
So what's going on? Why aren't you here in Charlotte?
Girl.
Where you been at?
Just this week alone has been wild, but yeah, I'm leaving the morning show that I was hosting, and I went shopping for an apartment, as you guys know, a few weeks ago, and I toured like 15 places, left with 0 signed. And it wasn't until last minute where we were just trying to find a place, and finally we see one that was perfect, but it was past the day that I was supposed to start here. But thankfully, you guys were very, very flexible. And we were able to find a space, and ours won't be available until July 25th. So I should be in Charlotte within the next 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks.
And it's so funny, like our management here, they're so nice. Daddy AJ, and he called me and Holly and was like, Kelbin can't find a place. Like, is it okay? Like, if he starts later than what we thought, like, what you're gonna be mad? And I'm like, where he gonna stay if he don't have a place? Like,
I know.
You can't be mad.
I'm like, would we be mad anyway? I'm like, is he still having to realize that we're not divas and drama queens? I mean, in some instances we are, but never like we're never assholes.
I only get mad if another morning show in the building has breakfast delivered and nobody asked if we wanted something. That's probably the only time that I will be a bitch or diva. And I'll be like,
it involves
food. So we don't get breakfast, but they do.
Yeah.
Everything else, I'm like, girl, it's life, whatever. We'll figure it out. So Kelbin, are you from Miami?
Yes, born and raised, Kendall boy, through and through. But yes, 305. I was born there in the 93s.
In the 90s?
In the 93s.
The late 90s. The late 1900s.
Let's not call it that.
That's what the Gen Zers say now.
I know.
1900s.
But do they like do that, or is it like something that someone put on TikTok that they do that, but they don't really do that? They do that probably.
I don't hang around many Gen Zers, but.
So you're not Gen Z, or you are?
No, no, millennial.
You're like a what is that called? If I'm an elder millennial, you're a new baby millennial.
a young bird.
A young millennial.
A young millennial. Wait, how old are you? I don't do math.
29. I just recently turned 29.
Oh, that's right. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
29. All right. So let's go down your life story. So little baby.
Oh my God. By the way, let Miguel do his Mama Oprah thing for a while. I'm just going to sit here and get some popcorn.
So just go ahead and get ready, girl, because I want to know it all, honey. So Mr. Kelbin, born in 1993 in Kendall. So like, how was your upbringing as a child in Miami?
My upbringing, my parents came from Nicaragua.
Nicaragua.
In the early, I don't know, actually. I should probably ask that story. But they came very early on, before I was born. and they escaped the the regime and everything that was going on there with the dictatorship and everything else that happened. And finally we came over. They had like 4 kids already, and I have no idea why they decided to add a 5th one. But by the time I came out, they were all grown. So thankfully, like, I had a pretty good childhood. Like, I won't say I was spoiled, but I was the baby. So I was able to get everything after they finally established themselves in this country. And yeah, I was always just a very gay child. I don't know what else to describe it. Well, I just loved to sing and dance. That's all I did.
Well, I was gonna get to that. So what is your sexuality, if you feel comfortable talking about it, and how did that process go?
Yeah, 100%. I recently actually figured out that I was pansexual, which I haven't really said much often at all, really. I was always, in high school, there's just so much bullying, and everybody would tell you, like, you're gay, you're gay, you're gay, F word this, F word that. And for a while, I very much pushed back on it because I didn't really align with that label or sexuality or whatever you want to call it. So for me, it wasn't until I got to college where, like, some dude lunged at me and kissed me, and I was like, I like this.
Say that.
You're like, shocking. But I'm not mad.
But I'm not mad.
Right.
How dare you? Now do it again.
Exactly. It was very much like, why did you do that? But also, why did I like it? Because I always had girlfriends. So for me, once I had that moment, I was like, all right, I'm bi. And I felt it was so powerful for me to be like, this is something I like align with and I agree with, and I don't feel comfortable about pushing back on it. And then after a while, I realized I was like, I don't really care if you're non-binary as well. Like, I just love human beings. I'm attracted to whoever. For me, I think the pansexual sexuality label is what more aligns with where I'm at right now.
Now,
that makes sense.
Can you, and I feel like this is the difference in just because, like, I'm 36, you're 29, Holly's 40. So, like, Holly and I are on the other side of, like, was that a bad thing, Holly?
Remember, no, I know. It always just feels weird. Sorry, I know.
Remember last year when we were at Morning Show Boot Camp, you said you need to celebrate your age and be proud of it. There ain't nothing wrong.
I am, but it's still weird in my head. Just don't worry about it. I am, and we do, but that don't mean I don't feel the type of way. Okay, go ahead.
I feel like for us, Holly graduated high school in 2000. I graduated in 2003. So, like, it was like gay or straight.
Absolutely.
And then, going to college, it was still gay or straight. And then
I'm sorry. In college, we basically, and this is like so offensive now. So forgive me, but this was 2001, 2002. My friends and I were like, okay, cool, gay, cool, straight, cool, like bisexual. You're basically on the way to gay town. So like, why? What are we doing here? Like, that's what. But I'm pretty sure that was like the common social trope.
Oh, absolutely.
Is bisexuality was just figuring out what you wanted.
Oh, and I'm pretty sure if you were to pull tape of us from like back in the early 2000s when we started doing mornings and had these conversations, I'm pretty sure there's tape of us somewhere saying the same thing, not realizing it. But then I feel like over the past 10 years, we've started to learn that there is such a broad spectrum of sexuality of like what everybody's into that you don't have to fit into a box. And so that's why I also like to take time, because I'm 36, Holly's 40. These are still kind of new terms that like I don't feel comfortable just saying it out loud just because I don't fully understand it. And so I think this is a great education for people that are like, hey, do you, I support you, but I don't really understand when people say like cisgender or pansexual. Like, what exactly does that mean?
Right, 100%. And I think it's funny that you talk about that because I too also said those things before. Like, there's a lot of biphobia that would happen a lot of times. And even when I was in college, which was around 2015, I would advise my friends. I'd be like, oh, he's bi, like, watch out. Like, I don't know. But so it's even inner, I don't know if it's homophobia, but I guess it's inner stereotyping, I guess.
Stereotyping, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, 100%. I think for me, it was just a realization this last year. I was like, I just love people. Like, how am I going to limit who I love and what I like and what I'm attracted to? I think all forms of humans are beautiful.
So that would be how to describe pansexual. Because I have a couple friends who would describe themselves the same way, and it's less I like men and women, which is bisexual, and more just maybe you're non-binary, trans, anything on the spectrum. any human person, you're like, I'm into that.
Right.
Hey.
As long as they stimulate my mind.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Now, so little Kelbin is coming up. Graduates high school. What year?
2011.
20.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
That's fine.
So,
That's not that bad. That's not that bad.
we were in Tampa the first time at that point, Holly, in 2011. Or we were just about to be. It's fine.
It is fine.
It's
We
fine.
need some fresh blood here.
Absolutely. So how did your radio career or journey start then, or what did you do?
God, no. I went straight to college. I did Miami-Dade College for a year and a half, and then I went over to UF, and I had the best time of my life. It was amazing. I had so much fun. And I wanted to get into news. I actually really wanted to be one of those people that was out in the war zone and reporting, and I wanted to be in the middle of the hurricanes and the tornadoes. Like, if I was going to do news, it had to be fun. It had to be entertaining. And then after a while, I started to pivot, and I realized that there was something that I really loved, which is just gossiping and chismeando. Like, I just love doing that.
You're like, I really want to get up in that hurricane, but only if it's got some juicy secrets.
Right. So I started to pivot over to more entertainment news, and I needed a credit for something, and everything was already booked up. Everything's just very competitive in that school. So my teacher was like, all right, well, we're just going to sign you up for, I think, cameraman or something. And I realized once I got into the news studio, I was like, I do not want to do this. And she was like, well, the only other spot is a rock radio station. And I was like, all right, I'll try it.
Yeah.
And I ended up learning so much from that experience, and getting bitched at for saying the wrong city, and just knowing about bands and Tom Petty and just a lot of things. And I think that's exactly where I started having my interest in radio.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you get bit by that radio bug, and it's just all downhill.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
I mean, I remember there were kids when I was in Savannah that had interned with me that I was like, I never wanted to leave the building. I was just like, this is so fun. And they were like, fuck this. I hate this. I thought I liked it. I hate it. I don't want to run around. I don't want to do this. And I was like, I just want to learn everything. I want to learn it all. And so it's like, you know when you know that this is it. You found your home. Well, what led you here to leave Miami to come to Charlotte?
Yeah. My radio journey was wild. I had a lot of odd jobs before it. I worked at the DMV, which lots of stories to come out of that. But I worked at the DMV. It was really hard to get into the building until finally I did an internship here during college in this exact building. Met somebody. They gave me the connection to go to my 4-year journey before I came here to the Miguel Holly Show. And every year was different. First year I was doing traffic with Kimmy B, which I love her. She was like my mentor at the time. It was like I went from fan to mentor, and it was a big journey for me there.
And I will say real quick for the our old school Platypus Posse fan members, Kimmy B used to actually do nights from Miami on Hot 101.5, where Holly and I were before we got to Charlotte. So there's radio, such a small world, all these like little interconnections like that.
Yeah.
Yes. And the second year I was like a free agent, sort of. They were like, Kimmy can do traffic on her own. So we don't need you here. I was like, okay, great. So I helped out the APD at the time, Dia, who also helped me a lot in my career. Then third year, pandemic, we get a morning show. And that was definitely not in the cards, but I think the pandemic kind of helped me out in that way in a great time. And I did a show for a year, and then I was solo morning show host for this last year. And now I'm here. I realize that I'm a huge team player, and I love being a team player, and I love creating the vision for whatever you want to create and being in the backgrounds. And I think that's what's led me to being here. Because a lot of people would say like, oh my God, but you love hosting, you love being the star. And I'm like, I love seeing stars perform just as much, probably more. So, yeah.
So, I mean, do you think it'll be a rough transition? I mean, because you were literally where people work their whole lives to host a morning show in Miami. Holy crap.
Yeah.
What was what were the first weeks like that led you to be like, I don't really know if this is like how I see my future going.
Girl, I could give you the uncensored version, or I could give you the I may get a lawsuit version.
Yeah. Well, we don't want you to get sued. Like, give us the we don't want you to get sued version.
Right. I realized after a while that I needed to have fun. And I think I don't know what audience would understand this. Maybe more the radio people would understand this more. I don't know, but I just want to have fun at my job. And I want to be inspired, and I want to work with a team of people that love what they do. And I wasn't having that experience anymore. I know that there's BS in every other building. I'm sure every company has BS as well. So I'm very hyper aware about those things, but I just wanted to collab and have fun. And I think executive producing allows me to do that. It's where I'm most passionate about. So for me, I had to go follow my passion. Being the star and performing and interviewing is great, but if there's no foundation of where I can feel comfortable and happy, then there's no point in doing it all.
I love that.
That's so true too.
What made you say, Miguel and Holly, that's who I want to work with? Because I mean, we've known each other for a long time. I only met you physically when you actually came and like toured the building a few weeks ago, and I was like, hey girl, like I feel like I've known you forever. But we've only met just in person once. But what made you say, like, this is gonna be my next move? I want to go work with Miguel and Holly.
I think there's so many angles to that question because, before we used to get air checks, IFMs is what they call them in the radio industry, where, your big bosses are listening to you. And after a while, when they had put me solo, I was like, well, who do I like look after? Like, who is going to be, who's the epitome, the staple of this company to, I guess, learn after, and who can I connect with? And it was always the Miguel and Holly Show. The Miguel and Holly Show. The Miguel and Holly Show does this. They do this. They do that. They do and it's amazing.
And you're like, okay, bitch.
I get it. Like, there's nothing worse than like you're here, and I know you're not the only person that maybe has heard that speech, but it's like a little embarrassing almost because we're like, I don't know. We just do what we're doing. Like, we're not trying to be better than anybody. We clicked. We got a flow. We finally figured out what the fuck we're doing.
Sometimes.
Other times I'm like, how am I even getting paid for this? I don't know. Yikes.
But the epitome of the Miguel and Holly Show is fun and authentic and kindness. And for me, like, how could you not want to work for a team that's like that? I was a big fan of what you guys would do with Scotty as well. And I'm a big fan of Scotty too. So for me, it was always so nice to see, down the street, I guess you would say, or down a few cities, to see what you guys would always do and come up with. And you guys obviously had such a great connection and chemistry that it was God, what's the word? It's escaping me. It was not salacious. I don't know why that's the word that's coming to my mind.
Is it it's contagious. Like when contagious. You can feel the energy.
Yeah. So for me, that's what I wanted to do. And I as you know, certain other things, I want to work with a team that's like that. I would love to work with be honored to work with a team like that, where I can just go in and not feel so anxious and just go in with the thought process of we're going to work hard, but we're also going to have fun, and we're going to create very substantial and authentic content.
Right.
Well, you in the right place.
Yeah.
That's we do that.
I feel like I've had a master class in just these like last 3 days of just like, oh my God, you guys do like a lot of things live, and like you just do it and you just trust your audience, and it's just great. Like just a lot of things that I'm learning.
Oh, that's interesting. So for behind the scenes, Kelbin, like we said earlier, being in Miami, he's sort of just like listening to the show and just sort of like getting a sort of understanding, because even though if you tune in between like 7:20 and 7:50, or if you listen to the replay on the iHeartRadio app, it just kind of sounds random, the stuff that we do, but there's very much a formula for what we do and how we do it.
Right.
And so that's why we were like, girl, just listen and just sort of feel it and understand.
Get the flow. It's like trying to jump into double dutch.
Right.
Like it's can be overwhelming. Right.
And so that's why I was really curious, like what has been your sort of like, oh wow, so this is how this works. Sort of just listening for the past couple of days behind the scenes.
I mean, you guys are just so forward motion, which is, it's not that it's crazy to me, but it's like, God, you guys have a well-oiled machine is what we would call it, right? Before I got this job, or I was thinking like, should I do this? Is this the right move for my career? I was talking to one of the producers from The Breakfast Club, who's a really good friend of a former co-host that I had, Al. And God, he is the sweetest human being on planet Earth. And he was just giving me so much advice about like, well, what is the Miguel and Holly show? And like, what do they do? And how do they do it? And I told him, I was like, hey, like they've done this show for a really long time, and I'm sure they have their process of how they do things. And he was like, well, you have to understand, like, is this position going to be much harder, or are you joining an oiled machine, or are you the oil? And I came in thinking,
question.
And I came in thinking like, okay, they obviously they do so much, like they need some extra oil. And for me, I'm watching you guys and I'm like, fuck, what the fuck do they need me for? Like you guys are doing it. And
no, we are, but it's too much. Like,
no, I get it.
Yes.
I get it. Yes. And I hope, it makes me happy that I'm able to relieve a lot of that stuff. And I hope to continue to add more stuff, in a sense. But for me, that was the biggest shock so far, was like, oh, they don't need fucking oil. Like the machine is already there, mama.
We oily.
Yeah.
We oily bitches.
We'll see, but I'm sorry, go ahead, Holly.
Well, I was just going to say we sort of needed to be, because we had a lot of pressure. I don't even know if we talked about that, but like, and I don't know if it was never spoken, but I sort of had this unspoken pressure that's like, okay, this company is taking a pretty big leap on us, and we better fucking do what we said we're going to do. So, and not only that, like the way that Miguel is as a person and the way that I am as a person, we click so well that we have to almost be that well-oiled machine, because it would irritate our sensibilities not to be.
Right.
Like I've heard of, or I don't know if I've seen like firsthand, but heard of or heard stories of shows that there's not a lot of planning, or if it is a plan, it's very loose and then easily switched up at the moment. And both Miguel and I are the same in that, like, if that were us, it wouldn't be a comfortable work environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so who wants to work in an uncomfortable work environment, especially like when we had to pare it down to just the two of us for the past several months? We better be comfortable. Right. So I think all that prep and all of that, like working so seamlessly together, not only comes from working together for so long, but also just it makes us feel better to do that.
No.
Yeah,
wouldn't you say?
Yeah, because we're big. I mean, I'm one of those people that if there is, the schedule that, we religiously follow, if we have that in place, I feel more comfortable in deviating from that if like something crazy happens, like if we're like at the end of Blown Off and we're like, that was funny, that was great, and I look down at my paper and there's nothing next, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I can't. Oh my God.
And then you're like, well,
let's play some more songs, girl. No. But if I know there's a plan, but I have the creative freedom to be like, ooh, let's shelve that for tomorrow and then let's do this instead. That gives me as a talent more comfort in knowing that there's always a plan in place and that you can just sort of go with it. And that's where the fun happens. And that's what, we will eventually, as you sort of double dutch and like get inside of things, you'll see, and how we'll like, once we get more free and we start doing more stuff, and as we get more comfortable and the audience gets more comfortable with us. And so that's why I feel like for some of our Miguel and Holly fan members that are new, that have been so gracious and so cool and understanding with us here in Charlotte so far, that right now it's like we go boom, 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 boom. But then as we get more comfortable, and I always feel like I have a friend, Derek, who we always make fun of, who he's one of those people that like, no matter where that bitch goes, he gonna make himself comfortable. So like, if you go pick him up to like go to the gym or something, and you have your arm on the armrest and you're in the driver's seat and he comes in, he's gonna come in and like push your arm aside. He's gonna set up and like spread eagle everywhere and be like, bitch, I'm here. Where we going? And so I feel like that's where we were in Tampa, and that's what we're working towards. Whereas, there, some crazy thing I'd see on Twitter, I'd be like, ooh, let's go here. Let's do this instead.
Yeah, you'd be like, stop the whole thing. We're doing this.
Let's do this. And so here we're still not there yet.
Right.
But like, that's one of the fun things that you get to be a part of that process of getting to that point with us. Because Scott, when he was with us, we were already there. We were like doing it. And then he had to sort of jump in. And then like we had to find a whole new rhythm with him. And so
that was tough. And God bless him. I mean, he just took all critiques and criticisms because we had this whole flow and he was like, and with the audience too. And he was just like, I'm just going to, okay. And like, it was tough. It is going to be easier for you to get in this quote unquote double Dutch because we're all still so new.
Right.
Our fam in Charlotte are like, oh, who is this?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all just brand new.
Go ahead, Kelbin.
No, I was gonna say, like, you know, you being a morning show co-host, you kind of understand the double Dutch reference, and you understand, like, all right, it's a good time to talk. There's no point in adding something else. The conversation's wrapping up. Like, there's these little things that you learn, and I'm sure you got Scotty once he was like probably newer. So for me, getting this job, there was no anxiety towards it because I felt like I have certain tools that I've worked with before that I can help and not give myself extra stress. So it's just been a great experience so far. I mean, this week has been chaos, but other than that, the week before, I felt great.
That's okay. And you are right. And that's actually one of the great things that we loved about you and what you bring to the table, because you have that skill set. Like, you have the ability to do like EP work, executive producer work, but you have on-air skills that we don't have to teach you. Hey, don't talk over somebody.
Right.
Or like you're coming with that knowledge, like which people, again, like I feel like a large majority of people, not like our fam members necessarily, but like the average radio listener who may think, I could do a radio show. It's not hard. You just talk. Exactly. It's so not. It's so much more than that. It's just, and I still fuck it up. And I've been doing this shit for like 15 years. I am so like, oh man, there's a lot that you have to keep in mind as you're just talking. So luckily you got a lot of those skills.
Before we wrap up today, what about your personal life? Is there anybody that we should know about in your personal life?
There's a ton. Michael B. Jordan, Jonas, goodness gracious, Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes.
SZA as well. Anyways, I am engaged. I've been engaged since January. I've been dating my person for about 4 years. In August, it'll be 4 years.
Cool.
His name is Oscar, and I love him to the moon and back. He is the most supportive human being on planet Earth. He's also my first boyfriend, which a lot of people are always like, what the fuck? But yeah. I'm so happy he's moving with me as well. It hasn't been chaotic in that sense. So I'm excited. We're adding 2 more queens to the Queen City.
Love it.
Fantastic.
And how long have y'all been together?
4 years in August.
4 years in August. That's so cool. And who proposed to who?
Me. So I did it. I'm super extra, and I planned a New Year's party, which he did not want to have. And he battled me on it throughout the whole time. And then, what was the latest strain of COVID? I can't remember.
Omicron. It was Omicron at that time.
Yeah.
It was raging. Everybody was dropping with sickness.
They were down with the sickness, literally.
With the sickness.
And but a few close friends came. I waited for the countdown. We did it, and it was the first day of January.
I love that.
Oh, that's so fun. We're gonna have so much fun with that, and helping you all and talking about your upcoming nuptials and whatnot. Have you all planned any dates yet or anything?
Nothing.
Good.
Nothing.
Are you planning on planning things, or are you just gonna have a nice long engagement?
I think we'll probably maybe. I don't know. It just really depends. Like, we want to just have a party. I don't think we want to do the wedding thing because we want to get like new cars and we want to buy property. And I don't know if we want to spend so much on a wedding day or night.
Don't do it.
Miguel, you wanted that wedding so bad. Don't you tell someone else not to
and
do
it was perfect.
No. Well, I'm just saying if anyone ever is like, I don't want to do it, I don't want anyone to try to make you feel bad and say that you should do it, because you should only spend that much money if you really want it. I do not regret 1 cent that we spent. Not once. I mean, I do regret it sometimes when I'm like, ooh, like Abe needs to get a new car here. Oh, sorry, we can't. We got to save because we spent that fucking money in the wedding. But I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for the world. But Abe just going to be driving that motorcycle when it's cold in Charlotte this December.
Sorry about you.
But it's fine.
Hey, let's look at those wedding pictures. That'll keep you warm on a cold winter's day.
So that's why I say, if that's what y'all want houses and cars, do that. Right. Don't have the wedding.
Gotcha. All right.
It's okay.
I love it. Well, welcome to the... Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can... Normally, I would transition to this. Let's see how loud this is in your ears. Is it super loud?
All good in the hood for me.
Okay. Holly, can you hear me?
I mean, kind of.
No,
it's the same as always. It's just really loud.
No, it's fine.
I can hear you, but I would have a hard time hearing Kelvin because he's low for me.
Okay. Welcome to the Miguel and Holly fam.
Yes.
That is the overall umbrella that we call everybody who listens to the show. And then we have the Platypus Posse. Oh. They are the people that listen just to the, or don't listen just to, but they listen to the podcast.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And they are the people that are ride or dies that are here. And they span all over from Panama City, Tampa, now here in Charlotte. We have a few from Atlanta, from San Diego, from other podcasts we've been in that sort of checked us out, and they've now come in. And so it's been a really cool community. So by the way, if you are new to the Miguel and Holly fam and to the Platypus Posse, there is a Facebook group that we have just for this. And now that Kelbin is here in the fam, we'll have more time to sort of participate, in that more now that we have some help with everything. So sincerely, Kelbin, we are so happy to have you here in the fam.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. Can someone add me to that Facebook group though?
Yes.
I don't think I've been that.
Well, you gotta go request it. I don't know how to add you.
Y'all got a Twitch page, a YouTube page.
You gotta click please add me, and then I'm add bitch.
What other more pages y'all got?
We got a lot.
All the pages.
Girl, it is an octopus here that's went dormant. all the tentacles just went dormant in February. And we've slowly just been raising each tentacle back up as we've been getting back here in Charlotte.
Yeah.
So, Kelbin, what is your social media?
At Kelbin Live. It's right down here.
Holly.
Radio Holly, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.
And mine is Miguel Fuller. Real quick shout out to our fan members watching online. Zinda said, need a new cover photo. We will. We're just waiting for a logo. Hint, hint, Daddy AJ.
Where Daddy AJ at with that logo? It's not like he doesn't have 8 million other things that he's doing.
I know. That's why I haven't really pressed him on it, but I'm about to because summer's about to be over. Let's see here. Shannon, Erica. Oh, Erica, I did see you asked if Soul Worker Stacy will be on with us, and she will. We talked about it in the fall. We just wanted to get established
and also,
first.
We wanted to get established, but she's got so much going on in her life. I didn't want, because like anytime she comes on, then people are like, oh, I want to book sessions with her. I wanted to give her a minute.
Yes, that is she is a psychic and soul worker that we have come on the show.
Yeah.
Amy, Shannon, Melody, Francisco, Doe Eyes, let's see here, Anne Marie, Jamie Lee. I think I got everybody. If I didn't, I'm so sorry.
Camille from Puerto Rico.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see Camille. Well, welcome. Thank you all so much. We will see you all or hear you all on Friday. Bye.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to podcasts.